bottom level, bottom line communication, commitment, openness, honesty, like those to me, and you can establish what you want those to look like for yourself, but like those are needs. I do think that there are preferences in how you get those needs met. So honesty, openness, foundation of stability, communication, commitment are outcomes of words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time. So it's a preference of how I want you to do that for me, but I need you to somehow do that for me. For those who are deep enough to get it,
but profound enough to not care.
You're listening to Consciously Unconscious. Hello.
Okay, we're live.
I look like a linebacker. Yay! We're recording from our new studio.
Jessa is majorly lutealing.
Yeah, that's why I came here in pajamas and Amanda showed up in a literal...
Go ahead, describe it.
From the bottom down, she is a pornographic librarian. From the top up, she's like Aspen mommy.
I kind of love the juxtaposition. Actually, this is the skirt that we got together at Goodwill. Remember?
At Goodwill. When your son was rolling around in the floor infesting diseases and then got you sick.
We have to talk about that. Yeah. I think it was norovirus. Have you ever had norovirus?
No, but you talk about it as if everyone should know what it is. So tell the people.
Because if you are a parent, you definitely know what norovirus is. And it's literally the disease of shitting and throwing up.
The disease?
It's like a 24-hour stomach bug.
Viral.
That you get. It definitely goes around daycares, I feel like the most. But I got it last year over Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving Day.
That's the worst. Then you can't even eat your Thanksgiving.
Oh, no. I ate Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh. Oh, no.
So this is what happens. It basically runs through everyone in the household. Like you can't not get it.
It's severely
contagious.
Do you get a flu shot?
Fuck no.
Okay, good.
Do you?
No.
But I did have to get it as a kid. My parents made me. And I always ask my parents if I can get the mist, like the one that goes up your nose.
Shot?
Yeah.
Keep going with the norovirus.
Okay. So it runs through your entire household, and it hit Lennox first, like 2 days before Thanksgiving. He's throwing up like 7 times. Just poor kid could not catch a break. He's throwing up, and then he's fine. I'm thinking everyone's good. I thought maybe he just had some type of like stomach bug, was sick, whatever. We go to Thanksgiving. Ellis was 1, and all of a sudden, Ellis is just sitting down coloring. And this kid, my second child is pretty...
I love him.
Chill.
Not that I don't love Lennox, but Ellis is just like a little cherub.
Yeah. And Lennox's energy can be abrasive sometimes.
I mean, he's me as a child, so maybe I'm triggered by it. But
Same, by the way. But Ellis is like very much my husband. Very just chill, go with the flow, soft, nurturing energy. And he also is just very non-dramatic. Like he's just not a...
Couldn't be me.
No. Never.
Drama.
Truthfully, we wouldn't have even noticed because he didn't even make a scene, but he literally diarrheaed out of his diaper all over his pants.
Puppy.
All over. And then
he's just like, doo-doo-doo.
Yep. And then as we're picking him up to change him, he projectile vomits.
Body was in full rejection mode.
But he was one and done. One shit,
go off,
one puke, and then back to playing in the bath. And like
in such a little body, you probably really only need like 1 or 2 expulsions, and then you're clear.
Yeah,
like his large intestine is. Wait, does your large intestine? So you know how they say it's like the length of a football field?
Yeah.
Is it that length your whole life?
It's not the length of a football field.
If you unwind it all, isn't that what they count?
I think it's like 20 feet.
She's a conspiracy theorist. But no, they tell you maybe that's like all your organs in your body. I don't know. I'm spreading propaganda.
But it definitely grows. It's definitely not that as a kid.
Like a child.
Is my
Do you know
thought.
The 2 parts of your body that never grow from when you're born?
That never grow or continue to grow?
Well, yeah.
Your nose and your ears?
Yeah.
But
growing. Do you know the one part of your body that never grows since you're born?
No.
Your eyes.
Oh, well,
It's really self-explanatory, but that's why babies come out with like these honking eyes and everyone's like, your baby's so cute, look how big their eyes are. It's like, yeah, because they're adult size eyes just in a baby body.
It's interesting though, because it doesn't look that disproportionate unless you have big eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have exophthalmos.
I'm sorry. Here's another term.
Every episode, I'm just gonna come on here and diagnose myself.
What the fuck does that mean?
Just look up a picture of it.
She's cracking herself up. She's hysterical.
Hold on, stand by.
She's hysterical.
Let me look it up for you.
Can I finish my norovirus story?
Yeah, keep going. Swear.
Ellis shits and throws up one time. Again, non-dramatic. Just like, this is what I needed to do. I just got it out. I'm done. Then I'm sitting there and I'm a pig eating my fucking Thanksgiving dinner, being like, oh, my tummy kind of hurts. Maybe I should drink some more wine. So I'm drinking wine. I'm eating all of the food. I don't get seconds because I just kind of feel the nausea. I am sitting down talking with my parents. Everyone's drunk. We're all having this conversation and I'm sitting there fucking miserable because I'm like, uh-oh, my stomach's hurting. And we were going to stay the night there that night because it's just convenient. And I'm like sober and at this point and just like, I have to get out of here. I have to leave. You know the feeling when you're at somebody else's...
like poop pains?
Not poop pains. It was like nausea. Like my stomach hurt and I had, it was, you know, when you're so uncomfortable and you can't get comfortable when, like, no matter how you sit or how you, yeah. So it was just pure nausea, so much discomfort, much nausea. So I left and literally on the drive home, I opened the car door and I projectile. And this is on the side of Spear Boulevard.
Which I will never drive down ever again.
Yeah, it's atrocious. But meanwhile, it's 11 p.m. So if a cop pulled up behind me, he could totally think I'm drunk and like projectile vomiting behind the fucking wheel. You know what I mean? So I projectile vomit. I'm getting home and I literally for the next day was just out. Lucas got it out. Lucas's sister got it out. My whole family got it.
Do you get sick a lot?
I don't really, but since having kids, more than usual, for sure. But,
just because they bring stuff home?
Yes, but my point to all of that was I think I had norovirus again this time, but because I already had it, maybe it was more mild. Do you know what I mean?
She sent me a video of her taking a pregnancy test and it wouldn't load. And I'm just like, can you just tell me what that says?
It wouldn't load?
No, it wouldn't load. And I was like, I feel like the reason she's sending me a video right now is because it's positive and she needs to like document it, but it wouldn't load. So I just texted back and was like, not loading.
See, and I'm not pregnant, by the way, even though I was kind of sad that it was negative. But I feel like that's why I took a pregnancy test, because I don't get sick often. I'm not nauseous often. So
this is exophthalmos.
We're going to insert a picture. What is that?
Bulging of the eyes.
You had that?
Well, I just have big eyes, so I joke that I have exophthalmos.
Is that
a disease?
Is that racist?
It's a version of norovirus. No, look.
That's real?
Yeah.
And they just stay like that?
There's a disease for everything.
You know, that's actually one of my most...
Comes from hyperthyroidism, I think.
But I thought you just said you were born with it. Are you born with hyperthyroidism? Anyway, we're getting way off. Way off on a tangent.
This is explaining where my brain is. Always.
Anyway, if you're not watching on YouTube, we are very juxtaposed right now. Jessa's in her luteal. I'm in my follicular now and I feel great.
Yeah, she's in a mini skirt. Let me guess, no underwear.
No, I have underwear because I'm bleeding also. But
congratulations. What would that be like? Got one more day.
But this is our love episode part 2. And I think before we get into this episode, we need to talk about our beverage of the week.
Beveragino of the week. Oh.
Is that the jingle?
No, we can do it again.
Okay, should we do it together or?
You can go.
No.
I did last week alone as an opera singer.
Cosplaying as an opera singer. Okay,
should we have costumes for each episode? Should we have like themes where we dress the theme?
That would be fun.
And drink the theme and talk about the theme?
Let's save this for the boardroom.
Okay.
Also, yes, we are in a new studio. I know we kind of briefly went over that, but
how are the acoustics?
How's the vibe? Vibe check really quick.
what are the vibes in here?
I'm feeling really good about it. It's going to be where we do a lot of like our brainstorming, but also obviously all of our recordings and maybe a few events in the future.
Something that gives me anxiety before we get to the beverage of the we know is when I'm somewhere and I can't control the temperature.
Oh, it's hot in this bitch.
I'm wearing nothing under this, so I can't take it off. But it's absolutely 600 degrees in here, and I feel out of control.
We could probably crack a window.
Well, we could crack a window, but the point of this is a little bit
Are
deeper.
you going into fight or freeze?
Or fawn?
Fawn.
No, I might be. No, the point is that I just don't like when the temperature of a space is unpredictable to me. Because maybe I do have a thyroid issue because I can't regulate my temperature very well.
There it is.
I need a personal like physician and therapist.
Okay.
And coach. Sing the song, damn it.
Thank you. I needed that. Jessa and Amanda, beverage of the week. We're here with our beverage and it looks kind of weak. I don't know what it is. I'm not really loving it, but I will try anything once. That's my motto.
That's a great freestyle. I knew it was the right time to give it to you. Well, I already showed you what it was, so the surprise factor is kind of...
We should turn it around for the viewers.
An advertisement.
That's okay. They can pay us.
Sponsor us later.
Harmless Harvest Coconut Nog. And if you are not familiar with Harmless Harvest, it's probably arguably the best coconut water brand on the market.
Yeah, especially the pink, just like plain coconut water.
But the reason I'm a little nervous about this is because, you know, when you go to the store and it's holiday season and you look in the eggnog section and everything's eggnog, but then when you get to the alternative milks, it's like...
I've never had a real eggnog.
You haven't?
No.
We should make one.
How do you make one? Eggs and nog?
Precisely.
What is eggnog? Just milk and eggs?
I don't know. I think it's just milk and eggs, cream and eggs, and sugar.
Terrible. Sounds terrible.
It's not the taste; it's a texture thing. You know what I mean? Thick. And all eggnog is thick. People don't like it. Like people who don't like it fucking hate it, and people who love it love it.
Just like cilantro and just like olives.
I love cilantro.
I hate it.
Does it taste like soap for you?
Yes. That's the first question that anyone has. It's like, yeah. It tastes like soap, but it also just tastes like shite.
What is that diagnosis called?
Pussy bitch syndrome. Cilantrophobia. Okay. Hold on. I've never had a microphone stand before, or I've never been able to adjust myself. Go ahead, take a sip.
No, I'm cheersing you. I'm waiting to be cheersed.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Are you supposed to put ice in eggnog?
No.
Okay.
What's
in it?
I feel like I'm drinking.
I may have to cut that. Organic coconut water, organic coconut meat, water, organic flavor, organic cinnamon, nutmeg. It's literally cinnamon, nutmeg, and coconut. And they call this a nog?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, anyways, I chose it because...
it's...
Amanda.
Because of its similarities.
Because we're talking about relationships, and relationships to me, especially, maybe it's just because of the holidays that are nearing, and we just had our first snowstorm here in Denver for the season, which is like really early for early November. But
wait, I'm sorry, you said the snowstorm was early? That was our first snow.
Yeah.
The first snow is usually October like 9th, 10th, or 11th.
That's literally not true. A news outlet said that this was the most snow we've gotten this early in the year.
It's propaganda.
I'm sick of the fucking internet feeding me shit that I don't know if it's true or not. Whatever.
This podcast, though, 100% truth.
100%. Okay, I'm telling you why we chose the nog. The nog that was chosen for the pod, I digress on the fucking first snow, okay? It snowed recently, got me in the cozy vibes, and I just was thinking about a really special and important relationship, whether platonic or intimate and romantic, should make you feel safe and cozy and warm. Like those are the best feelings when you're in that part, what she say it? When you're in a nice relationship that's making you feel just like soft, cozied up, loved. Also, I thought there were more ingredients because I was going to use the
But there are a lot of different ingredients to
love languages, to attachment styles. I don't know. The beverage of the week will never be retired because it's fun for us to drink something during this, but the meanings are just going to get less and less potent as we go. It's just going to be.
I don't think that. I do feel like that's a good meaning though.
Yeah, and like cinnamon and nutmeg, like relationships can be a little spicy.
Yes.
And a little bit. So now we're drinking a nasty little nutmeg.
Also, I'm appreciative that this is coconut because I'm dairy free. You're dairy free, right? Or like kind of, not really.
I have zero self-control. Did I ever tell you the time that I went to Holistic Healer?
You told me you did, but you never explained the details.
Okay, well, she is based in LA at like a LA Center for Holistic Healing, and her name is. Do I say those things? I'm still learning like when to name drop.
You can if you feel comfortable.
Well, she's this tiny little like 4'8" woman, no joke, and she's blind and deaf.
No,
so I was like, she is about to read my fucking aura and tell me everything that's wrong with me. I can't.
Wait, like on paper, blind and deaf.
Blind and deaf.
Like Helen Keller
in real life.
Up.
She's just old. She's like 92. So woman has years under her belt of her practice, but she focuses on muscle testing and kinesiology.
You know what's so fucked up about us is that we would trust a 92-year-old who's blind and deaf.
She's exactly the person that I would trust.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you are going to tap into my energy field.
Yeah.
You don't need to see me. She did tell me that I was hydrated, and I was like, lie. I know that I cannot trust anything you've ever said before because I have about 2 sips of water a day. But anyways, I show up to this room and she's got all these like samples on the wall, all these like different strains of bacteria and different food groups and different like vials. I'm literally in like a witch's office, and she like takes me back. She can kind of see like enough to work with your body, but like considered legally blind, but is 100% deaf. She has to read lips. So if she's not looking at you.
So she can't, but how does she read lips if she can't see the lips?
I don't know. She's got an assistant.
She does?
Yeah, and her assistant's so nice and so cute. But she puts me through all these, like, first I go in and she tells me that because I got the COVID vaccine, my whole body is in reversal.
No, that's my biggest fear, dude. That's why I texted you. Did you get the COVID vaccine? Because I did too, and that is my latest existential freak out is I'll be laying in bed, and as soon as I'm on the verge of sleep, it's like, I got the COVID vaccine. Yeah. What is in my body? What's going on in my body? Is it out? What's going on?
It's giving you norovirus.
So what did she say about it?
She said your whole body is in what we are calling reversal, which essentially is something along the lines of like good bacteria being attacked, which is why everyone's been having microbiome gut issues. This is her explanation. Take everything with a grain of salt. I took it with much more than a grain of salt, and I was like, yeah, oh my God, like what do I do?
How much product did you buy?
How much what?
Product did you buy?
I'm not answering that. So then she like has me standing there, and she's like basically muscle testing, calibrating me, and having me scream in the office like, I want to be healthy. I want to be well. And so I'm in this office with this like 4'8" woman in her like
was it screaming so that she could hear you or to make it work?
To like really stand in my power. And so I'm screaming, I want to be healthy. I'm like trying not to laugh, but I'm also like, nah, fuck, I do want to be healthy. I'm going to yell this to the world. And so.
And you went because you were riddled with parasites from Bali, right?
Well, she was the one who told me I had parasites. But what she does, if I could ever get it out of these goddamn little yapping lips, is she muscle tests you based on putting the vials of like specific things on your body. So she'll put different strains of bacteria on you. She'll put different food groups on you.
How does she know which one she's pulling if she's blind?
Google her. Go see her. I don't know. We'll vlog in her office.
Yep, we have to.
And she's muscle testing me and telling me that I'm literally, all of this came from you asking me if I ate dairy. Because she told me that I could not have dairy, I could not have soy, I could not have wheat, I could not have red meat. I could not have raw fish. She gave me a laundry list of things, and I was like, I don't know about that.
You're like, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
Say it.
No, I'm not going to
say it.
No.
We can cut it.
I was just going to say, like, now you actually don't trust the bitch because she's blind and deaf.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. The second that she told me that I was hydrated,
Yeah.
I knew. I was like,
farce.
Absolutely farce. I'm out. But I ended up spending a lot of money, and I was on like 16 supplements for about 2 weeks, and I avoided dairy like one time.
How much was it
and
to
I
see
had
her?
Parasites. I don't know, a couple $100s, and then I had to pay for all the supplements. So I ended up paying like $800. She didn't even do a blood panel.
No, it was all her intuition.
It was all muscle testing. Kinesiology, muscle testing.
Well, it would be fun to do a vlog there or an episode there. Maybe pick her brain.
I wanted to talk to you about this, which we can bring to the boardroom as well.
Okay.
And then we'll get into the actual topic of the episode. But I met a woman the other day who has a smash room where you go and you smash plates. But it's like a ritual, like wellness oriented kind of like healing process versus just like a break room where you go and break shit that's like not really a actual productive way to move through anger and trauma and grief. And so she goes and she leads you in like these sessions, these guided sessions where then you can break plates in a way that's like productively moving through your emotions. And I was like, we're going to come and we're going to do a vlog there.
Did you tell her?
Remind me to text her back.
Did you tell her about us?
I did.
And
She said she listened to us. She was like, wait, I listened to that podcast. I was like, how? What?
It's also been out for not that long. Who is this woman?
Her name is Erin.
Does she know?
She works for Ignite Your Aura.
Ah.
So there's some industry connection.
Yep.
Somewhere along the way.
Yep.
But anyways, we're going to go smash some fucking plates, my boy.
Oh my gosh. Well, shout out Erin if you're listening to this episode. We are 100% coming.
And I will text you back, honey baby.
Yeah. But let us get into the episode topic. We recorded an episode on love and relationships, and we figured we would do a part 2 because this is so layered. And again, we can have part 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I say that weird?
Layered.
We wanted to specifically talk about a few things in this episode, but I feel like the perfect way we can introduce this topic is by Jessa telling us about the date that she had. Which, by the way, she is still going to do a breakup episode, right? Right? I
tried to sit down and record it, and I started crying about 3 minutes in. So what did I do? I went on a date instead. No, it like was.
No, Jessa.
Bad girl.
Down, Jessa, down.
Squealing. Everything on the kitchen sink delivered. Hello, Amazon.
You didn't squeal, you howled.
Little piggy. Wolfie piggy. Oh my God, today we were driving on Federal Boulevard. And I saw, this is Unhinged, and I see this sign. And there's like this really cute pig icon on it. Like a cute illustration of a pig.
Like
and
an emoji.
Like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, look, that car wash has a sign. Like there's a pig on the sign for the car wash. And then I read it and it's just this massive flag outside of a Mexican restaurant that says carnitas. And I'm like, oh no. They put the pig on the sign?
Maybe her blindness rubbed off on you. So maybe it wasn't a date.
No, it wasn't a date. He didn't kiss me. He didn't touch me. He didn't ask me a single question about myself. That is my pet peeve. Okay, listen. If you go on a date with someone and you do not ask them questions about themselves, you will never go on a date with that person ever again.
And this applies to any type of date, friendship date, like fucking anything. That's my biggest pet peeve too. If somebody is sitting with me and giving their time to me and they're not reciprocating in like curiosity, the fuck are we doing?
The fuck are we doing? Like, you don't know, you didn't ask me anything about myself, and I'm sitting here asking about where you were born, your childhood, your friends, what the fuck's been up recently, like just all these questions because I'm genuinely wanting to get to know you, and you don't know a single thing about me other than what you think you know because you follow me on Instagram.
Let me play devil's advocate really quick.
Ugh, fine.
And I know you're not in the phase of your cycle to really entertain it, but I'm going to anyway.
Here she goes.
Do you feel like maybe people don't ask us, because we both have this issue. It's something that we both struggle with, where like we often will be in situations where we feel like we are not getting the curiosity that we're giving. Do you feel like it's because we don't shut the fuck up and don't give them space to ask us questions? Like we're not comfortable in silence, that we overcompensate?
No, because something that I appreciate the devil's advocacy, but no, because I have worked so hard to become a really good listener recently, because I was at one point the entertainer, the talker, the one, you know, who always had to have the fucking mic. And
shocker.
She's still in there. And I kind of had to match him by responding to his stories with my own personal experience so he could still learn about me and so I could still relate, but he wasn't asking me. So maybe he didn't feel like he needed to ask me because I was advocating for myself to share my own story and just kind of be like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Like where I grew up, this. So he didn't have to ask, I guess.
But I feel like that is justifying for him in giving men the absolute bare minimum.
It's the sentiment of, if you want to spend time around me, don't you want to get to know me?
Straight up.
Which I guess leads us into love languages. So a big piece of this episode that we're going to talk about is love languages and the 5 love languages and how they influence and impact relation to your partner, and how they can come into play at work, how they can come into play in platonic relationships, just like this theory, this framework of specific quote unquote languages that allow you to help give and receive love in more productive ways, increase communication, increase like this stability and foundation in a relationship. And I think that maybe that leads into one of my love languages. My main love languages is words of affirmation. And I think words of affirmation can come in like a question asking form.
100%.
Like I'm affirming you with my words by asking you how I feel, or how I'm just asking you questions about yourself.
I'm verifying that I'm into you and that I care about you by being curious about you.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that it's interesting how love languages are on paper and how they can change versus how you give them versus how you take them or receive them. But also I feel like it's interesting how love languages play out in like tangible application form. And I think it's different than how it is on the surface. And I feel like advocating for your love languages, communicating for your love languages is so complex and a lot harder for some people to do. Like it's easy to be like, oh, my love language is this, and this. But like the actual application of it can be really difficult. But I feel like we should share what our love languages are. So yours is words of affirmation and
Physical touch.
Is it really?
You know, I think this leads into how love languages can change partner to partner and kind of like over phases of your relationship, and maybe what some partnerships, because I find that a lot of times people's love languages stem from what a relationship is lacking. Like my love language can sometimes be something that I feel like I'm not getting, and so I want more of it, so I claim them to be words of affirmation or physical touch if those two things are not feeling prominent and prevalent. Like I think I've said this to you before, but quality time is really like a prerequisite to everything else. You can't really have the rest if you don't have quality time. But there is, and we'll get into it, like a difference between time together and quality time. But yeah, words of affirmation definitely, and physical touch, depending on how comfortable I am with you. I can be really standoffish to someone new that I'm talking to, or just like people that I don't really know very well. Like
Cold?
Yeah, I just won't like break the barrier of like being touchy-feely with people first a lot of times.
Are you the one that hugs strangers?
I don't know that I've been in a position where I hug strangers.
Like when people are like, I'm a hugger, bring it in.
I mean, yeah, like if I'm meeting someone new and they reach out to hug me, like I'll hug them.
Are you doing it?
If I'm 6 tequilas in.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, I have to have gotten comfortable with physical touch through yoga and through like getting really close with students who after class want a fucking hug because they've just been through it, or like hands-on adjustments.
Also, thank you so much for bringing that up, because I was in a yoga class the other day when it was a heated one. And I was thinking about, because she did do a hands-on adjustment for me, and I love getting a hands-on adjustment. But I was thinking about all of the other people that she touched prior to me, and then that
Just
made me
transferring
really
the sweat.
get like Howie Mandel up in that bitch.
Who's Howie Mandel? Is he the deal or no deal guy?
Yes, and he's a germaphobe.
Really?
Like straight up.
He talks about it?
Yeah.
What's
he's
his
like
love
you.
language, do you think?
He's open about all his
open about
phobias.
his ailments.
Yeah.
What's
no,
Howie Mandel's love language? Answer.
not physical touch.
Okay, what's yours?
I mean, I think this begs a moment for me to have a realization, because I would say
Live realization.
well, I haven't had it yet and we can talk through it, but I think that mine are quality time and acts of service. And I think that it's quality time because I view quality time as you sitting down with me and listening to me with your ears and your eyes. And that's really important for me.
Amanda has children. You can look with your eyes, not touch you with your hands.
And I always say, listen to me with your eyes. I tell Lucas that too. Listen to me with your eyes.
I like that.
Yeah. I feel seen and heard when people are making eye contact. That's another one of my biggest pet peeves. If I'm talking to you and you're not making eye contact,
With my ex,
I'm getting whiplash. What are we doing here?
No, there are people who have a little bit of like a Tourette or like a twitch where they're like,
yeah. And that's so, we have to study the body language of that. We need to do an episode on body language.
love that. Add it
Because
to the list.
even you just doing that made me feel some type of way in my body.
So you think that body language connects to which love language?
Well, I think it connects to all of them because all of them are
And the
helping
answer is
you.
D, not all of the above. Amanda's like, I don't know what to pick, so I picked D, all of the above.
No. I think it's all of them because all of them
is
speak
all,
to being
maybe.
Heard and seen.
Yeah.
And body language is also a way for people to be heard and seen. Like if I'm sitting here like this to you, what am I signaling to you?
You know what is not a fucking love language for me is when you're in a group of people
Flashing
and
people.
someone boxes you out, like two people stand together and like
Hate
put you
that.
behind, or just like completely.
If you're it's the same thing with the sidewalk. If you're walking on a sidewalk in like groups of 3 and then 2 people decide to like be arm in arm in front of you and you're like the odd one out in the
When
back.
there's two people talking that know each other and you're just the third one there that's like,
Yep.
and no one thinks to introduce you, no one
Yes.
thinks to like kind of pull you in and be like, oh, we're talking about this girl that we both know. Like,
Dude, in college, it used to happen to me all the time because I was a transfer student and all of my friends that I became friends with had been there since freshman year. So they had their groups. I remember so many instances where I would be in situations, particularly with like frat guys, which
Ew.
like, I'm not even like, they don't even probably know how to fucking like introduce people and be considerate. But so many times my friend would be like, hey, like, good to see you guys. Like, and I'd be standing there like, I'm Amanda, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Like no one would fucking do it.
I hate that. That is not a love language.
But I think that my love language really is quality time and acts of service. But you were talking about how you think yours come from past relationships and maybe things that you felt like it was lacking. And I feel like mine deeply comes from the way that I was brought up, in the fact that, and I actually had a realization with Lucas recently too, because we were talking about my love language and his love language and how sometimes he feels like I don't meet his, and it's been an issue in our relationship, and we were just having a really like profound conversation about it, like a very NVC discussion.
What's NVC?
Nonviolent communication. Like very much
to
I
learn
was
that.
hearing him, he was hearing me. It was one of our better conversations we've had in a really long time. And he was talking about how he never felt considered in his life. So his love languages of physical touch and words of affirmation really makes him feel considered. Like his needs are like considered in my eyes.
Love.
And it made me realize that I always was a very dramatic, emotional kid, and I don't feel like my parents knew how to handle that all the time. They did in moments, but I don't feel like they did all the time. I was very much like the dramatic kid, the one that makes scenes, tantrums, that's just like, oh, Amanda's head is spinning, like whatever, that's just her. They never like tried to understand it and like meet it. And so I think the reason that I have my love languages that tied into attachment styles, which we'll get into in a second.
Save it.
But my love language also stemmed from, that's how my mom showed her love to me and my siblings, was by doing things for us, by making us snacks, by, you know, getting us gifts, and like, oh, actually I guess gift giving, but I don't care about gift giving, but like she just did things for us. Like fold our laundry, done. Like we didn't have to lift a fucking finger because she just did everything for us, and acts of service was how she showed her love to us. And I think that's why now I need acts of service to feel loved. Like getting me a coffee or getting me water, or like just the simplest things. That makes me feel so loved, because that's how I received love as a child.
Do you think that mothers especially get pushed into a position where they really have no other choice but to give love through acts of service? Like that's just kind of your role. That's what you have to do in order to take care of children, though. Like you do have to pack their lunch. They're not going to pack them for themselves. You do have to, like...
Yes, but I think that happens, like the situation that I described with me is when, like, there's a difference between mothers giving and doing things for their children, and then also like mothers feeding their children silver spoons.
True.
And I was fed a silver spoon.
Like, trust fund, baby.
Like I did not have to lift a finger.
Yeah.
And I think, yes, I have to do things for my children because they're 4 and 2, and sometimes they are incapable of doing things. But where it is appropriate, I make them do their own things.
Yeah.
Lennox and Ellis, are you done with your food? Bring your plates to the sink.
But your mom never did any of that with you guys. She
None.
just took care of it all because it was the easier thing to do, to just be like, I'll just take care of it.
Yep. And it was her role. Like she was a stay-at-home mom. Like it was her job too. And so I don't think it was her necessarily being like, I'm going to do everything for my children. It was very subconscious of just like, oh, this is my role, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But in turn, it made me be 18 years old and not know how to do my fucking laundry.
Valid.
Do you know what I mean? And so I think that I'm very cognizant of like, Lennox and Ellis, go make your bed. Lennox and Ellis, like, let's do your, and Lennox is a Virgo, so he loves a chore. Like he loves an activity.
Love that.
And so sometimes I'm like, Mom, let's do our chores. Let's do our chore chart. Sometimes
That's so cute.
But like sometimes it's a chore for me to fucking make the graph and like the fucking stickers. And so I'm like, buddy, just go make your bed. I'll give you
skip the chores
chocolate
today, okay? Just skip it.
But I'm always cognizant of like, I want to, where it's appropriate, let them do things for themselves, so that doesn't become their like love language in a way, and they can be self-sufficient.
Trying to like evenly balance them out.
For sure.
It's funny because I think people joke around and being like, oh, like my love language is all 5. And it's like, well, it's okay to have some others that are predominant, but it's a really good idea to try to learn to balance out, like, that you're not fully expecting that the only way that you'll feel loved is through a certain one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I need to work on that because I think that I'm really uncomfortable with physical touch. Like,
you are?
With my it's not hard for me to give it, but it's
hard for
like
you
you were saying.
It?
Not all the time, but like you were saying, with you're not the first person to hug. Like my parents also weren't like this most affectionate with me, but like Lucas's parents are European.
Yeah.
And his is physical touch because that's all they did was give him physical touch and love and affection. And so now sometimes Lucas's mom, like when she's drunk or something, like will like hug me and like she's like kissed me on the lips before, and I'm like like what do I do?
Kiss on the lips.
Yeah. I'm just like, okay. And it's so funny because Lucas will like see it happen and he's just laughing to himself because he knows I'm fucking so uncomfortable. But I love it because it gets me out of my comfort zone. But I do feel like I need to think about that. And I even told Lucas too the other day, actually, looking back, this is very like not NVC to say, but I literally told him he needed to learn how to self-soothe.
No, that's me. You could be talking to me
because
I empathize with him.
Because I was like, look, I hear you on your love languages and how you feel like they're not being met 100% of the time. And I know how it's making you feel. However, at the same time, you know that that's not my intention. So where I am not giving that to you, can you learn how to self-soothe?
Yeah. Can you learn how to figure out how to give it to yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, that will bridge the gap very well once we get to attachment styles. But describe to me about the difference between quality time and just time.
Well, I think that quality time, again, is like listening with your eyes and your ears, is like actually hearing and understanding each other, is spending time almost like in each other's emotions, in each other's minds, like enveloped in each other, present with each other. Was that you telling me that you're not present with us right now?
I'm so present.
Jessa
My brain
is not
just
in the
needs
room with us?
oxygen. My brain just needs oxy. Cotton.
How has it worked out with you in your relationships in the past with like your love language and then their love language, and how was that different on application of it?
Like on paper versus in true expression. You know, I think when I first learned about love languages was like in college or whenever the fuck you learn about them. And I took a lot of sociology and psychology classes. So a lot of like relational things would come up in those classes. And I'm sure along the way, love languages was something that came up. And I think it was maybe the first like realization that I had of, just because I want to receive love a certain way does not mean that's how I should give it. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Like that's once you really look at it and start to think about the differences between you and your partner and how you were raised and what you do and how you act and how you think. Like, of course you need different things.
Yeah.
But I think that really changed my perspective, because it's really easy to be egocentric and egotistical about like, well, I am showing you love because you think that love is, in your mind, how you would receive it. So you define love differently based on what you require or what you think you deserve or what you expect. And so I think in previous relationships, like college relationships, maybe that was really detrimental because I was expecting to like have a productive relationship when we were both expecting each other to give love to us in ways that we weren't able to. Do you know what I mean?
The reticular activating system.
Is it the reticular
It's the
activating
RAS.
system?
That's the way that I interpret it when you're talking, is we have this filter for how we think we should receive love. And so therefore, love that's coming in through other avenues and other lenses is not being actually received
100%.
or even processed through our brains, because we're so narrowed into that filter instead of opening our mind up to the different ways that love can come through.
100%. And I think that's why sometimes I think love languages can be a slippery slope, especially if you identify with like putting someone in a box of exactly what you need and how you need it.
That's a whole other conversation that we're going to do an episode on like, are labels limiting?
Yeah. I mean, yes, period. But yeah, it definitely shifts from person to person. It shifts even in the course of like days, weeks, months of what you need and where you're at. If we want to segue into attachment styles, this is the perfect opportunity to talk about why I feel like words of affirmation is a massive like expectation for me.
Yeah.
And I'm working on healing why I feel like that's what I need. But a lot of your love languages come from your socialization, your nurture as a child, and how, like you said, you were given love and what you are used to being modeled, and also ways that you were neglected and didn't receive love that you're trying to overcompensate for and now want in a relationship once you're older and can pick and choose. So I think that words of affirmation specifically comes in very close partnership with an anxious attachment style. And for those who, I mean, we never really went through all of them, but there's the 5 love languages. There's physical touch, words of affirmation, gift giving, quality time, and acts of service. And attachment styles, there are 4. Attachment theory is essentially something that comes from like how you were raised. And it's supposedly all of these formations are supposed to be things that you've absorbed in years 1 through 2 in life. Isn't that crazy?
Really? I thought it was like 1 through 4.
Maybe it is. I was listening to something the other day, a Mel Robbins podcast, where she had on a woman who was talking about attachment styles. And she said that most of the subconscious beliefs that we have about who we are and how we receive attention and love and how we cope and how we communicate and how we're triggered are all formed from 0 to 2.
Which is wild, because I don't have a single memory from 0 to 2.
Yeah. Well, she was also talking about this interesting lineup of your conscious thought. Like, you're almost describing consciousness as an iceberg, where your conscious thoughts are living as like the iceberg that's showing above the water. And then you have your subconscious thoughts, and then you have your unconscious thoughts.
That's a great metaphor or description or visual.
And she says a lot of your attachment styles are part of your subconscious beliefs, where you can access them and then change them and move them into conscious thought. So a lot of your unconscious thoughts, the point of them being unconscious, are that like you don't have the opportunity to acknowledge them, to rewire your neural pathways there, to change them, to heal them. And so your attachment styles fall into a lot of this subconscious part of the iceberg, where you have to shed light on it. You have to dive underwater to go find it and go look at it and see it. And hopefully, you know, you can change into secure attachment. So there are 4 attachment styles. Do you remember them? Do you know them?
Mm-hmm. Secure, anxious, avoidant, and a combination?
Yeah. I think the combination, so there's secure attachment, which is obviously ideally everyone's goal in life. We're all striving for secure attachment. I guess 50% of the population identifies as having secure attachment.
That's a farce.
Well, I think that's where the question comes in. Is like
That's
self-diagnosed.
fake news. That's false.
50% of people, like what actual percentage of those people have
I know
secure
the exact
attachment?
type of fucking person who said that.
Who?
Fucking boomers.
Yeah.
Who have never done any self-work that are like, I'm so secure.
Facts. I wonder if we switched that to like the demographic of people under 30.
I'm sure millennials would all say that they're not secure because they love a reason to identify as something that's not the norm.
That is an
mainstream.
absolute wormhole.
Yep. I think Gen Z would probably be in the more accurate description of like people who are aware and unaware. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's a more well-balanced
Realness.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, secure attachment apparently doesn't actually take up 50% of the population, but I was about to just cough directly into the microphone. Secure attachment, like you said, there's anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and then I think it's called fearful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I remember reading that.
Or maybe fearful is also called anxious. I don't know. Clearly, like we digress. We are not experts on this. We're really just having a conversation about how it affects our life and like what we do know about it. We will definitely link resources below if you want more kind of like scientific, sociological, psychological explanations on it.
Op-ed thoughts too, because we did read a really interesting article about the 5 love languages and how it all stems from like basically Christianity and like
It's like everything does.
misogyny and like women just being able to please the men, and this is what it's for. But also, again, I feel like these are things that we can take little things from and still apply to our lives for benefit.
100%. 100%. But essentially, and if you haven't done research on your attachment style, like fucking do it, because it's really life-changing to understand how the way that you were raised and the parents that raised you, or like the nuclear family, or maybe your grandparents, your aunts, uncles, whoever the fuck raised you, how the way that they related to you and treated you impacts how you now have platonic romantic relationships and how you communicate and how you receive and give love and your self-worth and what you feel about yourself and what you feel like you, I don't know, need, expect, want in a relationship. And so for me, for example, my words of affirmation expectation in my love language stems from anxious attachment, which to me stems from like a very interesting, it's funny you told Lucas to go self-soothe, because like a very interesting dynamic with my relationship with my parents, where I was so coddled and so loved and so celebrated and so fucking validated that I never learned how to like teach myself to chill the fuck out. And that like so now when something goes wrong,
give me an example of that.
Like, I love my mom to death, but she doesn't really play devil's advocate. Like, she just takes my side, and it's just like, you're so right. You're so right. No, that's terrible. Yes. Oh my gosh. I love you. What do you need? How can we support you? And what she's trying to do is be the best fucking mom she could ever be.
Yeah.
And she is the best mom she could ever fucking be. And I don't want her to change that. Mom, please don't ever please don't ever play devil's advocate. I need you to validate me. But like, I was the youngest child. I really took advantage of the fact that my parents would give me attention, money, love, whatever I wanted, whatever I asked for. And the more that I asked for, the more that they would give. So I was not used to asking for something and not receiving it. And so now when I'm in relation to someone else romantically, if something is going wrong, if I'm feeling insecure, if I'm feeling X, Y, and Z, I unhealthily look to the other person to coddle me, heal me, tell me everything's going to be okay, like validate me, make sure that they are using their words of affirmation in a way that's supposed to fix me. Not necessarily like, and I think that's shifting. I think that's changing. Not me having a realization on the pod. But I think that it has shifted.
We need to have like music for when that happens. Beep, beep, meow.
Live realization. I think that is what has ruined my relationships in the past, is that I expected someone else through their languaging towards me to fix me and heal me and tell me that everything is okay. I think that bottom line, words of affirmation for me are important because I'm also such an articulate person and such a good communicator and such an effective communicator of how I'm feeling and what I want and what I need, that I also expect that from someone else. So it's like this positive and negative need and want for words of affirmation, where part of it is an avoidant tendency to do my own work, and the other part of it is like, hey, no, I'm just demanding and expecting a partner that is able to meet me where I'm at and telling me how the fuck you feel about me, being straight up with there's a problem, like really telling me like, I'm here for this, I'm here for you, like.
But then not in turn on the flip side, and more maybe on like the con side, is not being cognizant of the way that that person processes and the way that that person needs to heal. And like,
I mean, my biggest challenge has been being partnered with avoidant people.
Yeah.
And that's not personal. Like your attachment style, let's just make this clear, it's not personal to you. It's not problematic that like you need to go heal yourself and fix yourself. These are just points of awareness that like you don't need to blame your partner or yourself for having. All you can do is just learn about them and learn to rework them in a way that feels more productive to your your personal power.
Your foot is uncomfortably close to my glass.
Sorry, I'm like trying to get comfy here. I'm also unleashing the demons. My armpits are sweating of my attachment style.
Yeah, it's hot as fuck in this.
It's hot as
in
balls.
this studio. But
okay, can you talk for a while?
yeah, I think that I actually had a realization not on the not on the podcast, but again in this really profound conversation I had with Lucas the other day. And I know Jessa and I have talked about attachment styles prior, and I don't feel like I had this realization at the moment, but when I was reflecting back on it, I realized why I think I'm avoidant. Because avoidant is like, can you tell me what avoidant is again?
Yeah, so I guess I didn't even really define it.
It's okay, you don't need to really define
You're like, you don't need to keep talking. Please let me talk. This is my turn.
No, we actually tried to record this podcast one other time, and this is the part where you got lost.
Yeah, I just got absolutely swept up. But let's see if I can try to do it in like 2 seconds just to cover the backstory. Anxious avoidant is someone who fears abandonment, and they have constant need for validation and like
anxious avoidant.
Just
anxious.
Anxious attachment.
You said anxious avoidant.
Oopsie.
So anxious
attachment people need validation because they fear they will be abandoned.
Okay.
And so they're the person that wants to solve the argument right away. They're the person that like, can't take the space and texts a billion times when they don't hear a response. And like, you can also be a combination of these things. So there's that. More details to come later. But avoidant attachment, which you are, and Lucas is anxious, therapizing you both. Avoidant attachment is someone who pulls away and or pushes someone away because they feel like they need space. They feel like they're being smothered. They are just willing to let someone talk themselves into a hole because they're just like, I have nothing to fucking say about it. They shut down. They are hyper independent. They know how to take care of themselves because maybe their childhood has provided them with the background of having to learn how to figure it the fuck out themselves. Go.
So, I mean, I think that when you're talking about that, it's really interesting because there are moments, and maybe I do have a combination, and maybe it's all a spectrum, right? Maybe I am more secure, but I have little flares of avoidant, like more flares of avoidant, and then maybe a little bit of like a dash of anxious. Because
100%.
when I'm in a conversation, I want to say it's like 60-40. Sometimes I'm the like, let's fucking figure this out right now because it's not working. We have to fucking talk about it now and find the solution. Like it has to be done now and I can't walk away.
Yeah.
But more often than not, I'm the one that in a conversation will stop talking and let my partner just yep until he talks himself into a hole and says something that he doesn't mean. And then I'm like, let's talk about what you just said. Like that, and that's you. Guilty.
I for any potential partner out there, I am actively healing. Okay.
Well, I think you can do both because we got into our first kind of fight and you were like, I'm stepping away from this conversation.
I did. I was so proud of myself for that. I was like, I'm actually going to see myself out. You be anxiously attached for once, bitch.
Yeah, that actually was interesting. But
Yeah, Amanda and I got in our first fight.
We did. And you know what? I feel like something I want to pride myself in is I've gotten so much better at saying sorry. Are you taking a photo of me right now?
Live photo. One of me too.
Maybe that should be a segment of our live photos. Done.
Keep going.
Okay. I think I've gotten a lot better at saying sorry. Like being able to accept where I'm wrong, because I think I saw a lot of modeling where like no, like there wasn't sorry saying and there wasn't like you're right, I'm wrong. And I feel like I have parents who like very much both are very opinionated and very strong-willed and very much want to be right. And so I think that I had a little bit of that in me, but also I saw that it wasn't productive. And so when I got into a relationship, that was something I was very cognizant from the start of, like, I am not going to be sitting here trying to win every argument. And I want to be able to say sorry when I feel like I have done something wrong.
Was Lucas always the first person to apologize in your arguments until recently?
No, not until recently. I think that more often than not, yes, he is the first person to apologize.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've always been cognizant of the fact that like I have a tendency to not like, and it's not even that I was unwilling to say sorry. It's just that I thought I was right.
Well, also you didn't like, I think that's an avoidant versus anxious kind of dichotomy, is that an avoidant person is okay with sitting in the fact that you guys are like taking space and you might still be in a fight and there hasn't been closure. An anxious person wants the fight to be over, wants things to be good, wants there to be no space, wants there to just be like, no, everything's okay, right? Like everything's okay. And so they often are the ones who apologize first to be able to close the gap of like, well, I just like don't want to be in an argument anymore.
Yeah. That's so Lucas then.
Yeah.
That's so Lucas, because he is really good about like literally arguing with me and then going away and like 5 minutes later coming back and be like, I'm so sorry for everything that I said. I'm so sorry. Like
that's me.
I'm a piece of shit. Like, and I think
this is my brother in arms.
Yeah. And my realization, getting back to the profound conversation that I had with Lucas, was that I will never forget. There is this one moment in 8th grade, and Mom, if you're listening, I know you hate when I fucking say this story, but it was something that I kind of resented my mom for a while. But recently I'm almost like thankful for, is that in 8th grade, I, for some reason, developed this bout of social anxiety. And I think it was because my gut was so terrible. Maybe I needed your deaf and blind healer at the time.
Probably.
But it was so bad. I was on a lot of antibiotics as a kid and just like didn't eat. I was eating like lean cuisines, like just not nourishing my body. Like,
disordered relationship to food coming next.
Actually coming next.
Like actually.
Yeah. And so I had this moment where all of a sudden I was super anxious and I felt really uncomfortable in social situations. I felt like I was going to be attacked. I felt like I was always in fight, flight, or freeze when I was in social situations, which was a complete 180 from what I have been my entire life, which is like super outgoing and just very comfortable being the center of attention. And so I was noticing this shift and I was like, this is so interesting. This is so weird. I mean, like I'd be at basketball games and my heart would be racing and like my face would be so flushed and just like sweating, like not okay.
You're not playing in the basketball game?
No. Unfortunately, I was not. And still having that experience. But I went to my mom and I was like, Mom, I think I have social anxiety. Like, I feel like we need to maybe do something about this. Like, is there a pill I can get on? Or like some, basically just asking for help, right? And she
Help me.
And she looked at me and she said, I don't raise kids with social anxiety.
And that's on period. The fuck?
Have you seen that defuck trend?
Yeah, the fuck?
It's so good.
What are they? Wait, what's the trend?
Where like
All I know is that they say the fuck.
It's where like they're videoing with somebody and they're saying defuck after everything, and they're the other person
my
is
God,
like,
yes, I have seen that.
we should have done that right now. Yeah. Anyway.
Except you would have just known.
I know.
It's not funny if someone knows a trend.
I know. But anyway.
Anyways, your mom said, I ain't raised no bitch. The fuck? Your mom literally started the fuck trend. She was like, I don't raise kids with social anxiety. The fuck?
And so I put my tail between my legs and I said, okay, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, no, I was faking it. I'm fine. No wonder she's avoidant.
And I had this realization the other day. I have always identified with being hyper independent, and I think I always thought it was like just an Aquarius thing, like me just being super into like zodiac signs.
Wait, your birthday's like soon.
It's in January.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean kind of. But
I thought it wasn't
January 28th.
Oh, that's why we're doing dry January, and then we're drinking on Amanda's birthday.
Yes. And so I had this realization where I was like, oh my gosh, I am hyper independent not because of this moment, but like that was an example of like I didn't get maybe the emotional support that I thought I needed at the time.
Yeah.
And so instead of asking for help and getting the help from my mom or from like a therapist or somebody, I instead
learned how to self-soothe.
How to figure it the fuck out myself.
Yeah.
Go in my journal and figure it out. And thankfully I did. And I'm actually very happy that my mom responded that way in a way, because it really did teach me like no one's going to come save you.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to save you. You have to do the fucking work.
Yes.
And like, was that great parenting move? I don't fucking know. But did it help me? Absolutely. So
yeah. I think there's also just like, there's no rule book for anything. There's no rule book for parenting. There's no rule book for relationships. There's like these tools, right, that we can use to help us, whether it's love languages, attachment styles, fucking parenting classes, God fucking knows what. But the more that you do the work on yourself, the easier it is to feel like the decisions you make are all in the name of like attempting to be a good partner, a good parent. But that's crazy that your mom literally said to fuck.
And I think that I was having this conversation, and I think that is why it's so important to look into these things too when you're in a relationship, because I think it does lend itself to understanding each other better in the relationship.
100%.
And I think that it really helped Lucas see why I am the way that I am, because our biggest thing is like his love language is words of affirmation and physical touch. When he is stressed
Lucas
out,
and I are cut from the same cloth.
I know. And when he's stressed out, he needs more of me. And when I am stressed out, I need less of him. I need to be by myself because of that self-soothing nature of like, because I didn't feel like I got the emotional like support sometimes in my childhood that I then gave myself that support. And so I think sometimes I get frustrated with him because I'm like, why I'm having to do the work by myself. Why the fuck can't you?
Yeah.
And I think that that's been such a push-pull in our relationships where, you know, I want to give it to him. I want to please him. I want to be able to be there for him. But at the same time, like, how is that maybe going against my needs and my wants? And so I think we should also touch on the fact of like love languages and even attachment styles. Are they needs? Are they wants?
Yeah. Are they preferences? Are they needs?
How do we give without taking away from ourselves and vice versa?
Yeah. How do we give without compromising our own personal preferences / needs? We don't know what we're calling them yet. But I do think I think there's a fine line with everything, right? I think there should be needs in a relationship, and a need is something that is a non-negotiable. A need is something that if we're talking about the lens of monogamy, I am choosing you to be my monogamous single intimate partner because I need you to perform differently, or I need this relationship to look different, period, than it does with my friends, with my family, with my fucking homies. Like, I need this to be different in order to qualify it as a choice that I'm making to be in intimacy with you. So expectations of like bottom line communication, commitment, openness, honesty, like those to me, and you can establish what you want those to look like for yourself, but like those are needs. I do think that there are preferences in how you get those needs met. So honesty, openness, foundation of stability, communication, commitment are outcomes of words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time. So it's a preference of how I want you to do that for me, but I need you to somehow do that for me. And it's really convoluted to feel like you have to hold your partner to certain expectations of like, I need you to perform this way or else you are not my partner.
Do you know what's interesting is I feel like this is making me question monogamy.
Well, I touched on this before, I think in our last pod about like polyamory being potentially both avoidant, like an avoidance strategy, or also just like a really independent, powerful strategy to get your needs met by different people. Because we need to stop, this is tangential but not tangential, we need to stop relying on a single partner to provide us with everything that we need. That partner is not supposed to give you everything. That is why you have other outlets in your life. That is why you have yourself. That's why you have your friends. That's why you have your job. That's why you have your community. That's why you have your yoga class. That's why you have
your ability to self-soothe.
Yeah. That's why relationships fail when you look to one person to provide you with X, Y, Z, and all the other letters in the fucking alphabet. Like, you cannot expect someone to do the work to keep you happy. Like, you ultimately, at the end of the day, have to provide yourself with your own needs being met with multiple different outlets for that, including a partner. We introduced a segment called Texts of the Week. This is a segment where every week Amanda needs to start texting me funnier things.
Yeah, I need to start banging out my comedy.
But every week we're going to read maybe 3, 4, 5, depending on the length of them, random text messages with no context from the other person and see what comes from that.
I'm really interested to see what you pulled because I feel like Jessa texts me really funny things and sometimes I just like don't text. So let's see.
We also text like 70-year-old women. Like, just like, okay, yes, coming here. Okay, bet, what, yes.
You go first.
I need to borrow pants because I look like a lesbian librarian.
I'm an actual piece of shit today.
Facts. Should we recruit a Jewish friend?
I did not say that.
Yeah, no context allowed. Keep going.
OnlyFans would bring in the real money.
Dude, our fucking car was stolen out of our driveway last night.
Tragic. I think I need to go on reality TV. My intentions are truly to find love.
I told you not to air that, bitch.
Wait, and there's a third text. Don't leak these texts.
I'm ovulating. I need to pop my puss. And then I am going to read the context of this because you need the second message. I said, this is not a pop your puss concert. It's more like everyone's therapy for the week. And you said, well, then I'll pop my trauma then. I don't care.
Naturally, I have a new boyfriend. He's Chilean.
Did you ask our Lord and Savior, ChatGPT?
I just need to take Ozempic and get a boob job.
I knew you were going to choose that one. I would go lesbian in 0.7 seconds for Gracie Abrams.
I can't believe you just butchered her last name.
I texted back, I don't know who that is.
and you that just is said, crime.
And you just said, sigh.
Went to a weird warehouse.
Keep going. That's all I have.
Okay, I have 2 more that are funny. But okay, forget it.
You're a bitch. That was such a deep dig. Amanda just pulled that from one of our fights. I have one, I guess. You better not leave me stranded outside the venue wondering when my husband will return from war.
I used to be a crack whore selling out of my kitchen, smoking 10 blunts a day, stealing from Hollister, and getting caught by mall security at age 20. And now I am not much different. Tell me why I also read that in a Siri voice.
You did. Wait, what did you say before that? Because there was something funny that you said. Oh, I used to be such a cute little coffee shop whore and hide in the corner table and write poetry surrounded by books I haven't read, and now I hide from my kids in the kitchen.
Well, I had fun with that. We'll do this again.
We'll do it again. And now that we know that it's a segment, maybe Amanda will be fucking funny.
Yeah, maybe we'll stop fighting in our text and we'll actually...
We probably won't, but...
crack jokes.
That's the thing about this friendship, is that it's more so like sisterhood friendship.
Yeah, you've been saying that.
Yeah, because I feel like I can like...
Well, because you don't have a sister.
Nope.
Drama.
I do now, but my bitch. I feel like so much has happened this episode, and I just got sweatier and sweatier, and it got darker and darker outside because now the sun sets at 4:30, and it's a terrible time to be a woman living alone. I think that we mostly got to the point.
I think so too. And I think if anything, this was a really fun episode to do in our new studio. Which you will be seeing from here forth.
And if you are local to the Denver area, we do have to plug the fact that we're going to do a couple really cool events here. I've been telling Amanda that I want to do a murder mystery Christmas party. You're going to have to be on a list for that one. But
also, I'm so beyond overwhelmed with even how that would begin.
I'm going to set it all up.
Okay, you do the heavy lifting, please.
I will.
Thank you.
I've decided that I like planning parties.
You're good at it. Okay, well, that's that on that. Thanks so much for listening. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Consciously Unconscious Pod. And if you're feeling fancy, if you're feeling spicy like our coconut eggnog, which I actually drained, leave us a rating and review. Leave us a DM so that we can connect with you. Let us know what you're liking, what you're not liking. But please be nice because we are sensitive.
Even if you think about leaving anything other than 5 stars, save it. Just message me directly. I'll wire you money. Okay. Love you.
Thanks for listening. Bye.